So today on First Cup, we're going to talk about today's Thursday episode. We're going to talk about Hasan Minhaj. We're going to answer. You guys posted a bunch of stuff in the Facebook group, so stick around. We're live and we're rolling in 15. Okay. 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Thursday, it is September 23rd, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. It's good. It's good. Well, I hope you all had a fantastic Wednesday. I had a pretty good day. We're going to get this the whole time. I asked everyone yesterday, I said, please help me remember after the show to pack up the camera and the tripod for tomorrow's episode because I'm traveling. And you all have been very helpful to remind me ahead of time, which is really helpful, and thank you. Stacy especially. Yeah, yesterday was an interesting day. So got a bunch of stuff done around here, did the books. It's nice. We've stopped selling pretty much everything on Amazon. I've talked about that a little bit. But we're actually getting some sales on our website, which is kind of cool. Maybe we'll get more of them. But I did all that stuff and threw more stuff in the pile. It's a crazy pile. I've got to take stuff out. It's too big of a pile. It's a pile, which I have to pack after I'm done here. I've got to be on the road by 9. And then I went up to the co-working space because I hadn't been there in a week and a half. And I missed everybody. And I've got this one, we'll call him a client up there now. And he's putting on an event in 3 weeks. I'm going to come back to all you guys in the chat in a second. You guys are insane. If you're watching this later, you're missing out on the live fun, but I'll read these things too. And I had lunch with the client who's going through some rough personal stuff on top of some rough professional stuff. And he asked for a meeting with people working on this event. And you ever have this happen where you're going through something difficult personally and you have a hard time considering anything else from any sort of different perspective? That's kind of what he was doing. And because he was feeling defeated in his personal life, he was talking about canceling his event. He's like, maybe I'll just cancel it. And I said, well, if you cancel it, it's a first-year event. It's going to make it kind of hard to do it next year because you're 0 for 1. And he said, I know. I said, all right, here's how I see it. And then I fully admit I took over. 4 people in the room counting me, and I just took over. And I grabbed a whiteboard, and we sketched it out. And I said to my friend, all I need you to do is sell tickets. If you can just sell tickets, the 3 of us can take care of the rest because it's almost done. There are a couple things that have fallen through, and, it's funny. He hasn't put on an event before. But I'm thinking of all the events that we've done, and I'm like, this one is so simple. There's nothing to worry about here. It's like the most straightforward event. It's bring in a few speakers, and they talk, and there's an agenda, and it's one spot. And I'm like, free training is more complicated than this. Which, year 5 of free training day. So we're good to go. And he was appreciative, so that's good. So everybody in the chat's talking about reminding me on the cameras, and Daniel's even saying, I can schedule an email every 5 minutes for the next few hours saying, remember your kit, if it'll help, Jeremy. No, it will not. But thank you for the very kind offer. I really appreciate it. Oh, just a heads up. Here's a shirt. The design's a little different than what we've had before. Very simple, nothing on the back. If you like this sort of baseball jersey style, 3/4 sleeve shirt, I really do. Because I don't like rolling up long sleeve shirts because then they get all stretched out. But you can roll these up and you get that look, but it doesn't stretch them out. Available at whistlekick.com, and you can use the code First Cut 15. So I wanted to throw it out to this group. One of the people I've looked for is someone to help with apparel. We could do more with apparel, and we could definitely make more money on apparel if I had some help. So if anyone's interested in a profit share and working on the apparel, let me know. Most of you in the chat have jobs that you're already working on. So Jared saying, Jeremy, I'm going to get you to run all the big events in my life. Hey, I'll do it. I've always said I do best when other people are at their worst, when other people are in the midst of crisis, especially if I don't have a personal connection to the crisis, right? Like if my life is not falling apart, but there's an event falling apart, I get hyper-focused and I'm able to see through the BS and come up with lots of plans on the fly. The best counterexample to that is when I had a tournament in 2016 because it was my event, because I had failed in so many ways. I really struggled and I had a nervous breakdown. Well, I tried to, but nobody else was going to pick up the pieces. So I found a way forward and it was okay. Right? Not quite my vision, but maybe someday we'll try it again. Jenny says she has this shirt, white with red sleeves, and she loves it. This is Mrs. Campo's favorite shirt. I'll have to order her another today. Well, we did 5 or 6 colors with this one. And this one, so one of the things that we try to do, and if you've bought stuff from us, you know this, we try to get the company to pull the tag out and do a whistlekick printed label. Let's see that. See? So that's how authentic whistlekick merchandise. I don't know. You ordered it from us. Where else would you get it? But I like that. I think it looks more professional to put that in there. Costs us a few bucks. What does it cost us? $2.50 to do that on every shirt. Let's be honest. You'd buy it anyway. But I like doing it. Now it's Thursday. Good morning, Francis. Let's see what's going on. Is the Thursday episode live? Let's check it out. Where are we? We're slowly adding YouTube subscribers, which is kind of cool. Nope, don't autoplay anything. Here we go. So this was a short but interesting episode. Considerations of opening a martial arts school. Financial considerations, episode 643. Financial considerations of opening a martial arts school. And this started, I think somebody wrote in a question, or Andrew had a question. Something happened somewhere where the question was, should I take out a loan to open a martial arts school? And my response to Andrew was no, with a lot of expletives. And we decided to make an episode out of it. So we did talk about why I see a martial arts school as not needing and really, when you open a school, why taking a loan is a terrible idea in most cases. So you'll have to check it out. Watch it, listen to it, see what you think. Okay. Next. What's next? What did I say we were doing next? Oh, yeah. You guys got some stuff to me in the Facebook group. So let me check that out. Let's start there. I want to thank all of you for doing that. So first off, we're going to start... No, there's Stacy reminding me. Yesterday was the first day of fall and the balance of light and darkness. How do we best work on physical and emotional balance, and how are they connected? Our Western view of ourselves tends to separate things. This is the physical body, and this is the mind, and this is the cardiovascular system, and this is the endocannabinoid system, and this is the respiratory system, et cetera, et cetera. And as we go further in medicine, we start to realize that these things are interconnected. They're not separate systems that just operate on their own. It's closer to the roadways in like a big city rather than small towns, right? Like if I drive down my road here, I don't have to worry about traffic, and if I stop in the middle of the road, it's not going to back anything up, and certainly people who are a town over or a mile away, it's going to have no impact on them. Breakdown in the middle of Fifth Ave, New York. It's going to back up traffic not just on Fifth Ave, but all around it, right? It's all interconnected. So if we think about the physical and the emotional body, you ever felt better from exercise? Have you ever had a better workout because you've been in a good mood, or maybe even a frustrated mood? You've catharsized that emotion. They're connected. We know they're connected. So if we think about balance, if we think about trying to keep those things in balance, it's about recognizing what's needed and providing that to both. One of the things that I started doing at the end of my day is basically rating my day. How good was my day? Today was a good day. Why? And then I go back through the day and I hone in on the good stuff. And I've started to notice some patterns. What are some of those patterns? I have a better day when I'm around people that I like and respect. I have a better day when I've produced work that I'm proud of. I have a better day when I get a good workout in. Yesterday I was at the gym and I did, if you know what a ski erg is, looks like you're cross-country skiing, but without the foot part. And I did 20-second sprint intervals on that, and I was smoked. Great workout. Felt awesome. And I had some good food. I mean, for me, those are really 4 boxes. People, work, exercise, food. And then, 5, I got to pet a dog. I got to pet the dog at the gym. And I think for most of us, maybe even all of us, having some kind of a debrief like that and noticing the patterns of what makes your days better is a good thing. It's not going to hurt you. And I think you're going to see that on days that there is a physical outlet, whether that's martial arts training or something else, you're probably going to see that your mood's better. And sometimes if you're really bummed out, like for me, if I don't get real physical exercise for about 10 days, I'm a wreck. And it's really difficult to pull myself out of that hole. 2 weeks, 2 weeks and I am in full-blown depression. I know that. So good question there. And then Chris asks, if a student is going to change focus in middle or high school, would you rather they start in martial arts and switch away, or start in another sport and switch into martial arts? So it's a good question, and I like it, but I think there's a selfish way for me to answer that. Because if they switch into martial arts, does that mean they stay? If we're looking at it from a development perspective, I think a good martial arts school setting out the lessons and the proprioception, the physical understanding of the body at a younger age is going to set them up for success in, let's say, high school sports better than playing pee-wee football or t-ball is going to set them up for success in martial arts later. So I think it really depends on the goal and the need. I had a high school friend. Actually, I talked to two different high school friends yesterday about their children in martial arts. One of them reached out to me. The other, we were just chatting, and it happened to come up. And so the question from one of them was around their 8-year-old cross training. That's really what it came down to. And it was an interesting question because initially, if somebody said, well, would you recommend an 8-year-old cross train? I would say just kind of offhandedly, no. But there was more of a story here, and the kid's in Taekwondo now, doing well, and is interested in wrestling, but dad is curious about scratching that wrestling itch with BJJ. And so we talked a lot about the way a typical BJJ school conducts a class versus a Taekwondo school conducts a class. Would that be confusing? And one of the things that we talked a lot about was the non-physical, non-martial aspects of the development of the child over the last few years into the next few years, setting them up for success as a young adult and later in life. And that, to me, being the most important. And that if bringing in a secondary discipline, whether it's primary or not, a second discipline, if that's going to dilute the personal development that the kid's getting from the Taekwondo class, then I said, it's a no for me, because I think that's what matters most at that age. That kid's unlikely to be able to defend themselves against, a big, strong adult. But that kid can certainly learn respect and confidence and all the things that they need. So there's my goals. Good stuff. This is this the first time you guys have left stuff for me in the Facebook group? So thank you. Yay! I appreciate it. That's why we set it up. Makes it easy for me to go there. And then Frank gave me some stuff about Hasan Minhaj, who I absolutely adore. I think he's a brilliant comedian, and he is probably not in style and not in subject matter, but in insight. I think he's the new George Carlin. If you look at George Carlin's old stuff, it was hysterical and it was incredibly insightful. And he had no problem talking about politics or any difficult subject. He could get you to listen and learn and laugh. And that's a really difficult skill. A lot of comedians won't go there. Hasan Minhaj will. And he's very insightful, and he has no problem poking at anything established. And if you saw his show on Netflix, which they canceled, which really bummed me out, it was one of the best things on Netflix, you know what I'm talking about. So it's his birthday, and because Frank knows me well, he gave me some stuff to talk about, some quotes from Hasan. I grew up in a pretty strict household in the sense that we just didn't have cable. So I wasn't familiar with what stand-up comedy was. I remember telling my friends that I thought stand-up comedy was like the thing that happened before the episode of Seinfeld. It's an example. I didn't have cable either. I remember, I will never forget this. This is so, you have those childhood memories that are just so incredibly vivid. So not surprisingly, because this was a generational thing, my mother was of the mind that when it came to technology, unless you knew exactly what you were doing, you didn't press buttons, you didn't touch anything. And when we got our first VCR, she insisted that we had to stop the tape before we hit fast forward or rewind. I had to show her in the manual where it said you could do that because she didn't trust it. Our first newer TV was a 13-inch color TV. Think about that, 13-inch TV. This big. And it was like over there. And somehow that was enough. The TV's 55 inches. I think that's like one of the most bizarre changes from our childhood, right? Like our TVs were so small And now everyone's got like a 42-inch TV, like in the bathroom. Anyway, I was in first grade and we were lined up ready to get on the bus to go home. And I heard these two kids talking about this cartoon that I'd never heard of before called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I'd started karate then. I'd been in karate for 2 years. And what is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I don't have cable. Oh, it's not on cable. It's on Fox 51. We don't have cable. I don't get that. No, we don't have cable either. It's over the air. And I must have given them a puzzled look. And they said, you've got a little switch you've got to hit on the TV. It says VHF. And I went, that's what that switch does. Now, we had that tiny TV, and there was a little switch back and forth for the UHF and the VHF. And UHF went up to like, what, channel 13. And because we had, what was it, 6, 8, 10 was PBS, 13. And I remember my mother telling me, never hit that switch. She didn't know why. She didn't even know that station existed. So I remember being so frustrated. Got on the bus, came home, and I walked right past her. How was school? I walked right up to the TV. I turned it on. I flipped that switch, and the little scanning thing hit 51, and there were cartoons I had never seen before. And I looked at the TV, and I looked at her, and I was like, I've been missing out on these. You've been holding back on me. She didn't know. So we got some reactions. Stacy said, our TV had dials and knobs, and you had to focus in the picture. We had some with dials and knobs, but we didn't have to do the focus thing. And Jared, don't push buttons. How'd you end up in IT? Exactly. I've always been a little bit of a rebel. Did you push all the buttons? Yes. I had my first computer at right around that time, 6, 7, and I started programming in BASIC. See, even though she didn't get technology, she understood that I resonated with technology, and she did everything she could to support that in me. And I remember this too. Dennis saying it, Stacy, and sometimes I was the antenna. I remember there were shows that it wouldn't come in well. You'd go up and move the rabbit ears, and you touch it, and suddenly it's coming in good, and you're sitting back as far as you can from the TV because it's going to make you blind. Don't get too close to the TV. It'll make you blind. Honestly, my eyes. The one thing that messes with my eyes now is the phone. That was a fun ride. What else we got? One thing I found very interesting about comedians around the world was their knowledge of stuff outside of their own culture and comfort zone. That's not very common in the States. We produce our own soft power, which is pop culture, but we rarely try to absorb and learn information from other cultures and countries. I think that's changing. It's slow, but it's changing. And I think as the rest of the world realizes that we are not going to produce content that resonates as much for them, they're more inspired to do it. India's got a wonderful movie trade. There's a reason they call it Bollywood. China does a bunch of movies. Korea, and actually if you have Netflix, you've probably at least seen that there are, if you haven't seen them yourself, a bunch of movies coming out of Korea. I watched one that I actually really enjoyed. I don't remember the name, but it was a really interesting zombie movie. I don't usually do subtitles. I don't like subtitles. I find them distracting. But this one, it worked. Because there wasn't that much talking. It was a lot of zombies and running. But I think it's great. I think it's great that we have options. Centralization of anything rarely leads to the best stuff. Why are there so many different styles of martial arts? Because it allows for progress. If we're all doing stuff slightly differently and we compare notes, or I watch what you're doing and you watch what I'm doing, we see progress. And I like that. I got one more there. So yeah, you can grab this shirt or anything else, whistlekick.com. Did you guys know we have a blog there too? We have Martial Journal, but we also have a blog at Whistlekick that we post some interesting stuff from time to time. We just put a couple articles up. You can check those out. We've got the newsletter you can sign up for, stay up on what we're doing, as well as, we put a decent amount of resources in that newsletter. So hopefully you check it out. The list grows. It grows slowly because we don't push it. And then leave me some stuff for tomorrow because we are having a show. And as a reminder, if you're watching later on, thank you. Anytime you have a live show, it can feel like if you're watching later or listening later, like you're a second-class citizen, and you're not. You don't get to engage just because logistically that's not possible, but I still appreciate you. We get the folks who watch live, and I look at those numbers, but I also take a look at the numbers after the fact, and there are as many, if not more, people checking this show out afterwards, and that means a lot to me, so thank you. So our last line here from Hasan Minhaj on his birthday, and then I've got to put stuff in bags and pack the car and make breakfast. I probably didn't leave myself enough time, but that's okay. We'll make it work. If it's just me on stage telling stories for like an hour, that's great. That's fine. But like a sandcastle on the beach, it gets washed away at night. It's so much more powerful if we can all share our narratives and doorstep moments and make us feel a little less alone. I'm just trying to use social media and new media as a way to capture that. Yes, same. Just trying to give all of you as martial artists some stuff that help you feel good about being a martial artist, connect you to other martial artists, keep you training, and make you proud. Make you proud for the things that you do, the work that you've put in. If people had outlets to be proud of their training beyond a belt and stripes and title, maybe fewer people would turn to belts and stripes and titles to feel good about themselves. Maybe the ego problem that we're constantly talking about and poking at is really a result of a self-esteem problem. It's a correction, overcorrection at times. So I hope you have a great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow. I am doing a show. I'll be up early in the hotel room because I like doing this show, and I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I appreciate all of you. Leave me some stuff in the Facebook group, and I'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Peace.